This is the QB Huddle Podcast, hosted by Tim Smith and Brandon Newey.
Dun, 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 dun. Welcome back to the QB Huddle Podcast. I'm Tim. You know me. I'm joined by my podcast partner, Brandon Newey. We're here to talk all
What
things
up? What up?
quarterbacks, even if we do feel a little salty today. Well, I feel a little salty today, but we're going to get to that. But Brandon, we had an incredible week of football this week. It was a little bit different than the first 2 weeks. I felt like offenses started to hit their stride a little bit. We saw some big numbers. Let's get into it. Best performers of the weekend. Tell me what you saw that you just absolutely loved. Made you jump off the couch this weekend.
I mean, what are we on? Week 3?
We're on week 3, sir.
This was actually more entertaining than the last 2 weeks. And first off, we're going to start off with the 70 piece. My man with the Dolphins. Oh my God, Mike McDaniel in that offense. 70 points. Have we ever seen that, Tim? I know you're a little bit up there in age, not too old, but I don't think you've ever seen that.
I've never seen that many points scored in a game. In a program.
That looked like the old University of Alabama versus some team I haven't really heard of.
Alabama versus the Girl Scout Troop 399.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad, and I was pretty excited about that because Sean Payton has been an absolute shitbird to Russell Wilson and that entire Denver Broncos team, and he just got a 70 piece put on him. Right?
Sean Payton's getting a little bit of karma, I think. I love Sean Payton.
Little bit.
He's a good coach. He came in hot talking about the worst coaching job ever.
Yeah.
And he allowed himself to get 70 points scored on his team.
Yeah. I mean,
so
but we'll dive into
now who's doing the worst coaching job ever?
I mean, it doesn't look good for you, brother. It does not look good. In fact, my first guy who's on fire is Tua. Tua has been playing out of his mind. He's leading the league in QBR. He has actually been dominating. He's been playing some very crisp quarterbacking. I'm loving what he's doing. I'm loving him in this offense. He's making great, quick, decisive decisions. I want to bring this up because I saw this on the X app, aka Twitter or whatever you want to call it. September of last year, Sean Payton rips Tua and says he'll be benched for Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh.
Flash forward a year later, September 2023, Tua goes 16 of 16, 206 yards, 2 TDs, and 35 points in a half versus Sean Payton. Now who's the man?
My man was 23 of 26 for the whole game.
Yes, with a QBR rating of 155, 4 TDs, no picks, another 300-yard game. Tua's on fire. I'm going to give him his flowers. I did give Dak his flowers last week, but we'll dive into that. But outside of that, the lefty, I really feel like he's playing some really good ball. And, of course, I got to go with the homer pick, Glock Purdy. Man, that dude is balling. I love to see it. The Giants blitzed him. I believe it was 85% of the snaps. Yep. He was very efficient despite some of the, just few throws I just question. I don't really like him falling off his back foot, doing that Eli Manning turn and throw. We got to clean some of that up. But as Brock Purdy, he has a good mind and a good sense of what he wants to do with the ball. And I love that. I love quarterbacks who are very decisive and have, that quick decision-making process, can really get either from 1 to 3 or understanding their hots. It seems like they are very in sync with that offense. Ever since Brock Purdy has stepped into that offense, I'll say it again, the guy has averaged 30 points a game. I mean, it is unbelievable what he's doing. Is this his ceiling? It might be, but I think he's a great leader. I think he's really making some great strides. Both of those quarterbacks were scrutinized very heavily going into their starting roles, Tua and Brock, and I feel like they could possibly be the last two left. Now, I get it. It's the first quarter of the season. We have a long way to go. But these quarterbacks right now are really answering a lot of the questions that people had going into the season. So kudos to them. Tim, who do you got for on fire?
Yeah, I want to take it back for just a second. You brought up, what Sean Payton said a year ago. Folks, that's the kind of content you get at the QB Huddle. We get in deep, and I'd never heard about that letter, so that's great. He had bulletin board material for a year, did Tua, and boy, did he let it loose yesterday.
He's got receipts.
I agree with you about Brock and Tua. I mean, they're playing. Two of them are playing probably in that top five class, along with Kirk Cousins, Justin
Oh, yeah.
Herbert. Right, you got some guys that are just playing outstanding
They're
football.
dealing.
So Tua, for me, obviously he was on fire. You're not going to argue that. The other guy that I went deep in this. I was hard on him in the draft. Not a big fan of the program that he came out of in college, mainly because I'm a Michigan fan, and number two because they typically don't put out good quarterbacks. But C.J. Stroud, man. And this hurts, but 20 for 30, 280, two touchdowns, no picks, has not thrown a pick over his first three starts.
102 passes, man. He's
Yeah,
doing
he's
good.
got 4 TDs, no picks, goes into Jacksonville, who, we thought was going to be, I mean, they're a playoff team, right? They had a tough game against the Chiefs, which everyone is going to have a tough game against the Chiefs, but we thought maybe Jacksonville was for real, and you let the Texans come into your house and beat you with a rookie quarterback. And wow, CJ's been playing great, so I got to give it to him. He was on fire. And for a rookie, I mean, two of the other rookies aren't even playing this weekend, both injured. So CJ is really standing out amongst the rookie class right now at quarterback.
Awesome. Awesome.
Nice.
Now, I know we're going to dive into this garbage juice section. I know this is a big.
Garbage juice. But Brandon, you're gonna have to go first, man, because my segment might take a little bit longer. We've got some
Uh-oh.
stuff to discuss, but
Uh-oh.
I want to throw it over to you. It's we go from praising some young quarterbacks to now we're going to throw you in the garbage juice, but you deserved it. So who is in the garbage juice for you this week?
Man, for the second straight week, man, it's got to be Justin Fields. It's unfortunate.
Easy
I,
picking.
I, I like the kid, man. I just don't feel like he's seeing the field. I don't feel the continuity is there with his offensive staff. I don't really feel what is their true identity. I mean, Justin Fields is a really good runner. I mean, the guy looks like Walter Payton when he takes off, but when he's passing, um, he's looking like one of those kids from Little Giants, man. Blow the whistle, blow the whistle. And with a quarterback rating of the lowest in the league, I think of 23 in the season, he had another catastrophic day. He was 11 of 22, 99 yards passing, 1 TD, 1 interception. They got blown out by the Chiefs. Now I understand this is the Chiefs, but the Chiefs have not been known to have just such a dominant defense. So I felt like, hey, what you said in the media, you shouldn't have said that, but
Right.
I'm glad you cleared it up. And I was looking for more of a fight there, and I didn't see that fight, unfortunately. So I have to put Justin Fields in it as well. I'm also going to put Sam Howell. I mean, yes, I had him as one of my surprise QBs. He's doing some good things. I even said on the couch coach that this team is on the rise. We understood that the Bills were going to beat them. I think we all agreed on that. But you can't go out there and lay a freaking egg, man, with 4 interceptions.
Picks.
You got to protect the ball.
Yeah.
41 QBR rating, only 170 yards passing against a Bills team that I feel was struggling a little bit, especially with that loss to the Jets in the home opener. Granted, Josh Allen didn't play very well either, but they still put up 37 points. That's one of my biggest things. I feel like as a quarterback, man, it's your job to number one, deliver the mail, and number two, protect it. You got to be able to protect it. And with 4 turnovers, that obviously leads to a potential loss, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, Washington showed us who they are. They didn't really play anybody in those first 2 weeks. That's great. Sam Howell's been playing good, and you've been winning
Sure.
some games. But I really still think they are the worst team in the NFC East, and that's going to play itself out whenever they play the Giants. I think that they're the worst team in the East. I think the Giants are better. Although I will say, maybe not now that Saquon's on the injury report. Without Saquon, the Giants become a different team offensively. So. But 1A, 1B, they're both junk to me.
I mean, based on what just happened yesterday, I think there's a good chance that they could actually make a run,
Okay.
especially the way your Cowboys
Yeah.
played.
Yesterday
Absolute
happened.
dog
Okay.
poo.
Yeah, it happened. It happened.
Trash.
I'm going to give you my garbage juice. I'm going to start pretty light here. I'm going to start with Trevor Lawrence. He was 27 for 40, 279, 1 TD, 1 pick. That doesn't sound terrible. 38% on third down. That's terrible.
That's not good.
You're at home. You've been named the Prince. You are supposed to win your division going away, and you
Right.
lose a division game at home to a rookie quarterback. Absolute trash, garbage juice, Trevor Lawrence.
Mm.
Absolutely terrible. All right.
Unacceptable.
Now let's get into it. You brought it up. Cowboys lost yesterday. Now, before I say this, let me preface.
I live for this, man. It's so.
I'm not going to sit up here and say it's 100% on Dak Prescott because we know to win or to lose a game, you need an entire team around you. Okay?
For sure.
So I can't say it's all on Dak. I'm not going to be that person that says that. When I say Dak has fault, it's because you're a $45 million quarterback. And when you're a $45 million quarterback, you have to score in the red zone. Brandon, we currently rank 27th in the red zone offense. 27th. Now, I brought this up at the Giants game, but everyone wanted to tell me I was a hater. But I talked about how the fact that we would get in the red zone and we were kicking field goals. And that might not get it done when we play better teams. Then we play the Jets. And what do? We kick a lot of field goals. I pointed out once again, this is going to hurt us at some point. You know who we miss? We miss this guy. Number 21, Zeke Elliott. That's who we missed. 12 touchdowns a year ago, right? Tony Pollard, man, he's not a red zone running back, right? You don't want to put him in between the tackles at the 2-yard line. So we miss him. But Dak's not doing us any favors. He's not running when he can. He tried something on 4th and 4 yesterday, rolls out to the right, throws the ball in the dirt, doesn't even give his receiver an opportunity. This guy was 25 for 40. Anytime he throws more than 40 yards, we're going to lose. Look it up. Look it up. 249 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, which came in the 4th quarter into triple coverage. You saw the picture, Brandon.
I did.
Terrible throw.
That's a fuzzy throw there. You gotta move away from that.
Here's the thing. When things are going great, when things are going good, your defense is getting turnovers, they're scoring points, they're getting you a ball on the other side of the 50. Special teams is getting returns and getting turnovers. Dak is great. He is a great manager when things are going perfect, when the run game is going, receivers are playing as best as they can, and you've got all the momentum. Dak is great. The Dink and Dak offense was working up until you get into the red zone for the first 2 weeks. But look at the history of things. We're not a comeback from behind team. This offense isn't built to come from behind, right? Then we talk about, well, he doesn't have weapons. Well, he had Des Bryant at the beginning of his career, caused Des Bryant to retire. He had little white boy, number 11, the little slot receiver, Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley left, went to Buffalo, most coldest place on planet, just to get away from Dak.
I don't think it's that. That can't be true, man.
We had Amari Cooper in the building. He ran to Cleveland, which is maybe the dumpster fire franchise in the entire NFL, just to get away from Dak. We've had great receivers that don't produce here. Why is that? It's coaching. No. We've had 3 different offensive coordinators, 2 different head coaches, and Dak is still the same Dak every time we get into these games where it's tough and your quarterback needs to rise to another level like Jordan Love did yesterday. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. Yet we pay him $45 million. We had 122 yards on the ground yesterday, by the way, so let's not blame the run game as the reason that we didn't produce offensively. We're in the red zone 5 times. Came away with 1 touchdown, bro. The last time, number 6, he threw a pick. Unacceptable. I've said it for 2 weeks. The Dick and Dak is great, but when we fall behind, it's going to kick our ass. When we're kicking field goals after field goals after field goals, and then we say, you know what? Forget the field goal. We're going to go for it on 4th and 4. And then you throw it in the dirt. You don't even give one receiver a chance to catch the ball. Simply garbage juice. And I'm tired of looking at it. I'm tired of getting into the hype. I dipped my toe into the hype. I dipped my toe there because I thought our defense, I said it, defense was the best defense since the 2000 Ravens. I was wrong. I was wrong because to be the best defense since the 2000 Ravens, you have to come every single week. And the Cowboys defense didn't show up yesterday, but neither did our quarterback. And we need our $45 million quarterback to show up each and every week.
I think he was 2 of 9 in the red zone.
2 of 9.
22%. That's not good, man. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just wish Dak would actually play like he's capable of playing sometimes. I mean, you went and watched him in college, especially with Mississippi State. I mean, when he used to take off and use his legs.
Yeah.
I mean, brother, hey, that's what they pay you the big bucks for, man.
Dak
Drop
Prescott.
your head. You're a 245-pound quarterback in the red zone. If you need to use your legs, brother, use them.
Use him.
You got to use them.
He
You're a threat.
played exactly like Tim Tebow in college. So if you
Oh,
watch
man.
that, he did. He looked just like him. He did the jump passes. He had the big shoulder pads. He was number 15. He would run around right. Dak Prescott was Tim Tebow in college. So when we drafted him, listen, he was drafted in the 4th round. Dak Prescott was never expected to play for the Dallas Cowboys, at least not as a starter, right? You don't draft your franchise quarterback in the 4th round. Granted, there's been a few guys that have not been drafted or have been drafted late, like a Brock Purdy, like a Tom Brady, like a Tony Romo, who have exceeded all expectations, right? Particularly Tom Brady, and win all those Super Bowls. Tom Brady was never expected to play for the New England Patriots when they drafted him, right? But it happens. That's not the story here, folks. Yes, he's overachieved. He's a 4th rounder, never expected to play. He was the 3rd on the depth chart. Kellen Moore got hurt. Tony Romo got hurt. Dak had to step in because guess what? He was the only quarterback on the roster. He steps in with Zeke Elliott, who to me was by far rookie of the year that year, with the number 1 offensive line in all of football and with a top 10 defense. Yes, you're going to win a lot of games that way. And guess what? He had his best statistical year that year, and most of what he did was hand off to Zeke and go off play action. And he used his legs. How about that? So his best year was in 2016. The worst thing that our franchise did, and the reason that we are going to be cursed forevermore when it comes to quarterbacks, is that when our franchise quarterback, our $100 million quarterback, the team that we built the 2016 Cowboys for, when he was healthy, we allowed him to sit on the bench and even made him give a speech that Dak had proven that he was the guy to take the job. And that was our Super Bowl year. That was the best team that Tony Romo ever had around him. We were ready. We were primed. And we didn't get it done. We didn't get it done. We let him sit on the sideline, and now we go with Dak, who was never supposed to be the starter of the Dallas Cowboys. Congratulations, Dak Prescott, because you overachieved. No question about it. You made whatever that salary was, $200 million. You got more than any other 4th-round quarterback is going to get. You did fantastic for you. Congratulations. You've been through a lot. You're a great dude. You're a great leader. You do great in the community. Hats off for all the things that you do, but you're not the quarterback that's going to step up and be able to take the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl because we need you to be elite at times and you don't have it in you. And that's all I got to say about Dak Prescott today.
I appreciate your passion on that, man. It's not really much to argue on that. I think.
And I sound like a hater, right? I got Cowboy fans.
I don't think you are. I think you're speaking out facts. I mean, it's straight facts.
Fans today on my Facebook telling me, we got a BS podcast, Brandon. We don't know. Our IQ when it comes to quarterbacks is mine, not you. Mine. I have no IQ and blah, 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 blah. Guess what? What I'll say to those people that are trying to refute me on my Facebook page, and I don't know what I'm talking about, these same people promised me a Super Bowl by now with Dak Prescott. 7 years, we haven't even been close to that. Okay? These same people continue to tell me that Dak is a great quarterback. Show me. Get yourself a microphone, get yourself a show, and show me why Dak Prescott is as good as you think he is. But until then, I got the mic, man. This is it. This is our show. And we're going to say what the hell we think and what we feel. And we feel, and I feel Dak Prescott is not the guy to get us over the hump. And I only feel that way because he's shown it to us. Now, I love everybody. If you're watching the show, even if you look at it for a second, we appreciate you, man. I just like to.
We love you, man. We love you, even if you hate on it.
Woo! So emotional today. People were so angry today at me for my Dak Prescott comments. But hey, that's okay. You can be mad at me. I wasn't out there throwing interceptions in the red zone, but be mad at me. It's my fault. Sure, it's my fault.
So based on that entire rant right there, which, by the way, I love the passion and the emotion. I think that was more of a Romo fan, just driven.
There's a little bit of Romo
this hate, just a lot.
But the facts are the facts. The facts are the facts, right?
I get it. But at the same time, do you feel like Dak is the guy that can lead you to a Super Bowl? Despite this loss, do you still feel he has the ability to make a run with this specific team?
Dak does have a skill set and the ability to do the right things. Like I say, when everything's going right, when the bus is going good and the oil's been changed and the tires are full and the seats are nice and there's no cuts in them right and the steering wheel is brand new. absolutely, he has that opportunity to grab the GPS and make sure we don't get lost all the way to the Super Bowl. But what I saw yesterday was we probably needed an oil change. One of the tires was loose, and my man Dak dropped the GPS and we got lost. That's what I saw. And that's what can't
Got
happen.
lost. Got lost. Well, I'll say this about Dak, man. Ever since he's came into the league, man, I mean, his quarterback rating has been mid-tier his entire career. If you go and look at the numbers, I like the guy. I like Dak. I
It's
feel like what he
impossible
did
not
was
to like
very
him.
rare. I feel like what he did was really rare when he stepped in and took Romo's job. I mean, yes, he took Romo's job, but he
You
ran
can't
with
take
it.
someone's job when you're hurt.
But he ran with it. He ran with it.
No, Zeke
He ran
ran with
with
it.
it.
Zeke ran with it.
But Dak was still delivering the mail
I got
when
you.
the oil was changed, when the tires were rotated,
Right.
right? You got to get over that hump, man. And I think dropping the ball against the Cardinals, I mean, that's no excuse there, despite losing, Trevon Diggs. I mean,
Be fair. Be fair and hear me when I say this, Cowboy fans who think I'm saying it's all Dak's fault. Everybody dropped the ball yesterday. All
everybody
53.
dropped the ball.
All
Yeah, it
53.
wasn't a good look, man. It wasn't a good look.
For you to lose to the Cardinals, it took everybody in the building to shit the bed. And that's what happened. Everybody in the
Now, I
building.
can't talk about the Cowboys losing to the Cardinals so much because the Niners play the Cardinals, which is a division rival. We're gonna have a tough matchup. We can't just think we're just gonna mow over this team. As I told you in the beginning, before the season even kicked off, that team will not lay and die. They
Yeah,
won't.
which is surprising because we all
They
thought they were
won't.
trying to lose, but apparently not.
No, they won't. Wait till they get Kyler back.
No.
We'll see what happens, right? I mean, they're playing with a lot of heart, so shout out to them. Outside of that, who's your other garbage juice QB?
That was it. It was him and Trevor
That
Lawrence.
was it. It was just Dakota. So it
No,
wasn't Jimmy G throwing 3 INTs
I gave you
because
Trevor
he's still on
Lawrence. I gave you Trevor Lawrence.
there. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he was not good either. Look, we have a
Yeah.
lot of quarterbacks we could put in the garbage juice, but the bucket's
Sure.
only so big. Yeah, we got 4 in
Sure.
there. I don't know how many more we can put in.
Okay. Well, which QB surprised you this weekend, Tim? Which
Man,
QB surprised you,
I'm
man?
glad you asked me that, Brandon. I am so happy to say this man's name in a positive light, and that's Deshaun Creepy Watson. Surprised me
Creeper.
this weekend. Man, he was left for dead after his performance against the Steelers. We all on the couch coach talked about it. He looked pedestrian. He did not look like himself. Woo, did he show up? 27 to 33, 289 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. And watching the game, he looked more like Deshaun Watson. He was running a little bit. He was throwing on the run. He was throwing dots. Man, Deshaun Watson looked like Deshaun Watson, and I'm here.
Is he back? Is he back?
I don't want to say. I don't want to. We jump in and out so quickly. I would love for him to be back.
Please be back.
He's got a good defense. I feel like the NFL is better when the Cleveland Browns are good. That's the '80s in me coming out. So I want Deshaun.
I don't ever remember the Cleveland Browns being good.
Oh yeah, in the '80s, boy, they used to go at it with the Denver Broncos in the '80s. They were a good team back then. Look that up.
Oh, Bernie Kosar, huh?
Hey, that's where John Elway got famous on what they call the drive. Yeah, I think it was 89-yard drive against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland to go to the Super Bowl. Look it up.
Wow.
One of the best drives ever by a quarterback, John Elway, buddy.
He was a bad dude, man. I loved Elway as a kid, man. Growing up watching him, he was great.
My other surprise of the weekend is going to be Justin Herbert in Minnesota, and I say surprise because Justin's been playing it at a great level. Right. And they've been losing close games. We all expected on the couch coach for the Minnesota Vikings to come away with this game. But here's why I have to put him on the list, because I don't know if I've ever seen numbers like this. 40 for 47. This man threw 7 incompletions the entire game, 405 yards, 3 tubs, no INTs. In the 28-24 victory. It was another close game. You would think with numbers like that, Brandon, if I told you he threw for 40 for 47 for 400 yards, you would say it was a blowout, right? More than likely. Right. This was a 4-point game. They had 12 penalties, did the Chargers, so almost as bad as Dallas's 13 yesterday. But Herbert still found a way. And, he's getting a lot of love in the media. Your average fan will say, well, God, they're losing, so he must be terrible. But I think everybody knows they've been losing kind of in spite of him. And I think he showed up in Minnesota, and I was really happy for him.
I think he had a couple of lucky TDs. One went right through a guy's hands.
That's true. That did happen.
I'm still on the fence with Herbert. I love his talent. I think he is extremely talented, but I want to see him use his legs a little more. I think he has that gift that not a lot of people know. And I'm
Yeah,
like, man, if you go back and watch him at Oregon, that dude could roll. Like roll.
absolutely. He ran a
Him and
little bit
Josh Allen
yesterday.
are very similar when it comes to
Yeah,
that. He used to be a physical kind of runner, and now he's just kind of dialed it back a little bit. Maybe this is help from Kellen Moore because I feel like he is seeing the field a little bit better, right? Kellen Moore, regardless of what people say, man, his offenses can be explosive if executed the
yeah.
right way. And Keenan Allen's having one of his best years. I think he's second in receiving yards right now, or third. Uh, no injuries so far, which is good. But
Wow, they
unfortunately, they
do have
just lost
one.
Mike
Yeah,
Williams. Yeah, they just
yeah.
lost Mike Williams. He had a huge game. So
That's
we'll
gonna
see what
hurt.
happens. I think with Herbert, I think the good thing about it, unlike you're saying with Dak, is if everything is good as far as the car, just the analogy of it, the oil's changed right, the tires are rotated. I think Herbert really carries that team.
Yeah,
When it comes to decision making and sustaining drives, I think that defense has got to pick up a little bit. That defense is one of the worst defenses in pass defense. So everybody who plays the Chargers are going to have a stellar game when it comes to quarterback play. Um, I think he's doing a good job, man. My two that really surprised me was C.J. Stroud.
yeah.
I was very impressed. I mean, that guy, he's a little different compared to a lot of these Ohio State quarterbacks, right?
Seems to be.
He's more focused on the pocket work. He's more focused on delivering the mail the way he should. I think Tank Dell, adding one of those guys from Houston, I think that guy's extremely explosive, which, by the way, I picked him up on my fantasy roster there this
Oh,
past week, and he got me like
fantasy.
30-something
Better
points.
listen.
Oh,
Better
hell
listen
yeah.
to Brandon.
Hey, man, right now I'm kind of rolling right now, so I think I know what I'm talking about just a little bit. Maybe not, but hey, I'm having a good ride for the first quarter of the season. Josh Dobbs. He was quiet, 17 to 21, 80% completion, 120 QBR rating against quote unquote the best defense since the Baltimore Ravens. That
Yeah,
is a
yeah, yeah.
huge, huge, huge statement there. Like, do you realize how good Baltimore defense was back
Listen,
in
the first
2000?
2 weeks really excited me. Leave me alone.
Oh my God, man. That's why I say it's first quarter, man. I can't even say too much, even on my Niners, man. It's a long season.
The
You got to
Cardinals
play it.
really should be 2-1 right now.
They really should.
They really
I
should.
mean, they should have beat the Giants. And who they play the
I,
first week?
I can't even remember who they played week
The
one. But
Commanders. They played them close.
oh, you're right. Yeah, they could be. They could
They
easily
played
be
them
3-0
close.
right now.
They
Yeah.
could easily exactly. And by them, I think Josh Dobbs. He's an NFL journeyman. He got drafted by the Steelers. Went back and forth. Tennessee picked him up. He played a pretty decent game that game, but I was a little bit shocked when the Cardinals got rid of Colt McCoy and signed him out
I
of
was
nowhere. I
too.
was just, whoa, what's going on here? But man, he has really showed up every game. I don't think he's bad at all. I think he's actually in the top. I think he's in the top 11, which he might be 11th in passing yards and quarterback rating right now. So
Speaking of Colt
hats off
McCoy,
to him.
why haven't the Jets called Colt McCoy and got him in the building as a number 2?
I don't know, man.
I
I
don't
don't know.
get why is Colt McCoy on the street?
I don't know. That's a good
Oh.
question. I think maybe they just believe in Zach, even though he's 52% completing passes right now.
But a
It's
backup.
not
I
ideal.
mean, Colt's
It's
one of
not
the
ideal.
better
He's worse in
backups
the
in the
league.
league.
Got to find a way. He's got to find a way.
Yeah, Zach's not
Um,
playing well. It's not going to get any easier for Zach because we talked about the Jets struggling with Aaron Rodgers in those first 6 weeks.
oh yeah,
So,
that first quarter is a gauntlet, man. And now who do they
yeah.
play? Who's the next opponent
Oh,
that's
well,
coming?
I'm going to be there this Sunday night when they take on the
Oh,
Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. So look for another loss for the Jets. I am excited to go and see Jet Life for the first time. And I'm going to subscribe to Jet Life because obviously the Giants share the stadium. But I'm going to say it's Jet Life Stadium. I'm excited to see the Jets chant
yeah,
Fireman
man.
Fred and just do the whole thing. It's going to be great.
Yeah, you definitely should go live with that or do like a little segment, man.
Oh, we're
I
doing
know
it.
that
We're
should be a
doing
fun
it.
game. That should be a real fun game, man. So biggest moments of the weekend. There's hasn't been a lot. We had a little Brady moment. Is it a Brady moment? I don't know, but I'm gonna shout out to my boy Jordan Love for doing his thing. I really,
100%. It was a
I
Brady
really
moment.
wouldn't say he's my boy, but he did his thing in his first home opener in Lambeau Field. He did his thing. He did a
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah, he was
But
22 of 44, 259, one TD, one interception. Doesn't wow you, but the touchdown came in that fourth quarter when you're down 17 to nothing, and you come back and you throw a touchdown to put the game away 18-17. Now that
how
touchdown looks
sneaky.
a little bit more impressive, right?
Yeah,
I agree with you. That was the moment because
it's a little
you've just come
sneaky.
off a big loss where you blew a lead to Atlanta. Now you're down 17 nothing at home. Your first start in Lambeau. What are you going to do, kid? What are you the next guy? And I think in the fourth quarter, I think he made true believers out of all of Green Bay Nation.
Do now, just because we're giving him love on Brady-moment right now, I'm kind of peeling back the onion. Is Jordan Love really the guy? My man's only completing 50% of his
Okay,
passes.
okay.
You know that,
Well,
right?
let's peel it back because you realize he lost.
A
He was
little bit.
losing,
That's a little strange.
but he was missing two of his top two targets yesterday offensively and his left tackle. So he's missing
Okay.
two of his top receivers and his left tackle, and still is able to pull off 18 unanswered points in the fourth quarter yesterday at home. So
Yeah.
I get what
Yeah.
you're saying. I don't know if he's real yet. It's only been 3 weeks. They're 2-1. They beat the hapless Bears. I feel like the old 2016 Thunder could get reunited and go beat the Bears. So that's not impressive to
Ooh,
me.
we might, we might get
Shots fired. Pew
slaughtered.
pew pew pew.
We might get slaughtered.
But yeah, man, I mean, we have to give these. It's the NFL is a week to week business, right? And so we have to give these guys love when they earned it. And Jordan
Yep.
Love certainly earning it in his first start in Lambeau. But I'm with
Yeah.
you. I don't know for sure he's the guy. He throws a pretty ball. I'll say that.
I'm
He
going to
throws
give
a
it
pretty
towards the
ball.
third quarter of the season to find out who he really is. Let him get his weapons. Christian Watson, a couple other guys. Let
Yeah,
him
with
get Aaron
Watson
Jones
out,
back.
that's huge, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's see what it is. But I think right now he is doing a good job of just commanding his troops, fighting back and getting it done. They could easily be 3-0. So
Yeah.
shout out to my man there.
Yeah, they're doing
What's your
good. They
matchups
should
of
be
the week,
3-0.
man?
They should have been.
What's your matchups? Who you got?
Man, I'm excited. First of all, we're doing this show here on Monday. We got a big night tonight that I'm really excited for, which is the OU Bowl, which we talked about last week. But just because we're sitting here talking about football right now, I'm really excited to watch Jalen take on Baker tonight in Tampa. But for this week, I'm looking at it would have been the Rodgers Mahomes game, but now with Rodgers out, I got to go with Dolphins traveling to Buffalo. Tua versus Allen, clearly the two best quarterbacks in that division. Tua is to me is head and shoulders right now playing the best in the AFC.
He's the leading MVP right
Am I
now.
saying he's
I
the
would
best
say.
quarterback in the AFC? No. What I'm saying is he's playing the best currently.
Yeah, he's
Um,
playing at an elite level.
and Josh Allen is working his way back into that top five the way he's been playing. So that's going to be a huge matchup that I'm really looking forward to. And then the other one is going to be Deshaun versus Lamar. And I know you've got a lot of numbers to share on that from their college days, but anybody that watched them play in college is going to be excited to watch this game. You know, you've got two good defenses, so we may not see 100 points scored between the two of them. But based on what I saw last week from Deshaun, I think that we're bound to have some really good quarterback play in that particular game.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. My pick was Watson versus Jackson. I think that's going to be a phenomenal game. If you went and YouTube the a college football classic with Louisville versus Clemson, those two went at it. Man, that was an amazing game.
Yes,
I
it
think
was.
it was close to over 800 yards of total offense, multiple touchdowns. I think these guys really stepped up to the plate. I mean, they're two of the most exciting players in my lifetime that I've seen play, and I really enjoy both of their games. I'm glad Deshaun Watson came off a victory. I understand it's against the Titans, and that's unfortunate, but for my fandom, but um, I think for him answering a few of these questions that we had, like, do you still have it? Are you just a deer in headlights right now? Are you the same? Do some of the allegations are they still messing with your psyche? And I feel by him coming out and throwing for close to 250, 80% completions, two TDs, no interceptions. Damn. All right. Let's see what we got. And good
Yeah.
news about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb only has an MCL injury, so his career still remains despite how ugly it looked. Now, Lamar Jackson, they're coming off of an ugly game versus the Colts and Gardner Minshew. I didn't feel he played bad by any
He
stretch.
didn't play great.
Um, but he didn't play great, right? I mean, there was a couple of third downs where he had it to convert, especially in overtime, to kind of solidify that. I mean, Justin Tucker misses a 60-yard field goal. It's a 60-yard field goal, right? I mean, that's really far, but he misses it by like a foot, which is crazy, right down the middle. I'm looking forward to that matchup. I think that's one of the biggest matchups outside of, Josh Allen versus Tua. I think that's going to be a really solid matchup. The person I'm going to say as far as who will have the best week and why, and I think it's Kirk Cousins versus the Panthers. I think this guy continues this path despite them being 0-3. The Panthers defense averages over 345 yards passing per game. So he's probably going to carve that up really nice. Right? Do they get their first win? I think they do. Andy Dalton's in. We'll see. They did play a tough game against the Seahawks, but they pulled it out. That's really my biggest as far as who will have the best week. I think you're probably going to say Josh Allen or Tua, but, man, I think they beat up on each other. I think it's just going to be who has the ball last.
I like where you're going with that. I'm going to say that Tua and Allen are going to have a big week because I think in that game we will see 100 points scored. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think both guys could have well over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. The difference to me will be, can Allen not turn the ball over? Because if he starts turning the ball over, the Dolphins.
We did it last week. Yeah, he didn't have a good game last week.
So that's what it's going to come down to me is those turnovers. Who's going to struggle for you this week, do you think? What's the quarterback that you think will have the worst week?
Zach Wilson.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, I can see that.
I mean, he's last in the league in completion percentage. That Chiefs defense right now, nobody's getting over 185 yards passing in a game since they played. Outside, I think Jared Goff. But I think they're back on board and they're rolling. I think Zach is going to struggle significantly. And they're going to have to make a decision going into the second quarter of the season. Do they need a new quarterback or not?
Brandon, they could
You're not showing me nothing, man. You're not showing me nothing.
They could ride this out, and they could get another really high draft pick to add to the arsenal for Aaron Rodgers' comeback next year too. They could just ride this out. That sounds ridiculous.
Whatever they do, you have to go get a quarterback in the draft. You have to. It's loaded.
I'm afraid Zach Wilson's not going to be in the future, right? We thought maybe he was going to be, but
unless he turns it around, man. I think he's a good talent, but I don't think he sees the field very well, and he doesn't trust what he's seeing.
So you're telling me I'm going to see a really boring game Sunday night? That's what you're telling me.
No, the Chiefs are going to light them up.
Oh, good. Do you think Taylor Swift will be there this week? She lives in New York.
Maybe her Swiftie fans will be there, and then you'll get to see Taylor Swift in there, and we'll see.
I won't be in a box. I'm sitting on the 40-yard line.
There's more coverage on her, man, than
she was in the pregame coverage. I'm like, how is she so excited to see this guy play football? And you've been talking to him for like a week. Like
that's her new boo, man. She's gonna write a song about him.
Oh yeah,
87 ways. 87 ways.
I'd like to hear what song he wrote about her after last night. Okay, let's move on.
Whoa. Okay. You see him right off in the car like grease.
Yep, they're out of there. Who's my struggle this week? I'm going to go with Kenny Pickett, man, and it's kind of low-hanging fruit, but he's going to the Texans. The Texans have a really good defense. Now, he did play better this week, but he's only completing 59% of his passes, 4 touchdowns to 3 INTs. He's going on the road. CJ's been on fire. Unless that defense can do what they did in Cleveland, I look for Kenny to have a tough game against that Texan defense this weekend.
Right. All right. Well, that sounds good, man. We'll dive into this fantasy segment. I'll keep it short and brief.
Yeah, give me your fantasy picks. We need to.
I'm not gonna lie. This is our 4th show, and I am literally 3-0 right now on my calls. Just saying. May want to listen to me. May not. May want to go to DraftKings.
Listen to Brandon Newey if you want to win your fantasy over the weekend, and you want to be the star at the water cooler. Listen to my guy.
All right, man. Well, the QB I'm going to start. I'm going to just continue with this Kirk Cousins thing. I think if you're just going to continue to light it up that way, hey, go ahead and make it happen. That's the biggest quarterback that I have right now as far as starting. And I'm going to go with Pat Mahomes. I think Pat Mahomes is going to get it done. I think that Chiefs offense was rolling. I mean, despite, yes, it's the Jets. You got a couple of injury bugs there, but they haven't been playing the way they should, in my opinion. And so right now, I think you go with Kirk Cousins versus Pat Mahomes. And my quarterbacks to stay away from. You may hate this, but I say Baker Mayfield versus New Orleans.
Ooh.
New Orleans is leading in interceptions right now, and Daniel Jones versus Seattle. Stay away from both of them.
I definitely stay away from that. I'm a
Stay
little
away from
surprised
both
at
of them.
Baker, though. I mean, Baker hasn't thrown a pick yet, so you're kind of saying that's going to be a coming out party.
No. I understand that, but that's a divisional game.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers historically, even with Tom Brady, have struggled greatly versus the Saints.
But speaking
don't
of
you
that,
dare say, "Oh, but this is Baker Mayfield."
Speaking of that, Derek Carr got hurt yesterday. Any word on his prognosis and what was wrong with him yesterday?
I heard it's his shoulder. It's his AC joint. That's what I've heard.
So
I've had that before. That is awful.
No, I've had both. I have both AC joints. He's going to be out.
Can't even smile.
4 to 6, maybe.
I don't know, but hey, famous Jameis, this is your time, brother.
Well, it's interesting because the Saints end up losing yesterday, and they went into the toilet when Derek Carr went out. So, maybe Jameis hasn't been
because they pulled back the reins a little bit. You think?
Maybe, yeah.
Kamara's back, so we'll see. Right? I think they don't have Jamal Williams. That really hurt them as far as sustaining run game. I think I would stay away from old Shake and Bake and Daniel Jones in that. I'd stay completely away from both of those guys, unfortunately. But hey, best of luck to Bake tonight. Hope he does his thing. But Jalen Hurts is going to ball.
Let me ask you another question. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is going to run for about 150 yards.
Maybe. I need it for fantasy.
Let me ask you another question. The guy Bryce Young there in Carolina goes down. They hadn't won a game yet. Dalton comes in, plays really well yesterday. The offense seemed like they scored more than they had the previous 2 weeks. Do you feel that at this point, Andy Dalton is the guy that can win you some games and maybe let Bryce sit, considering he was knocked out in his second game and truly looks a little bit lost out there? Or are we going to keep going with Bryce Young and when he's healthy in a week or two with that ankle and let him keep playing?
I think the best experience is playing.
Okay.
I'm not going to give up on the kid. I think he looks comfortable. He's just got to get comfortable more into the offense. Rest him, of course. You don't want him out there hobbling around. I mean, you're already 0-3 right now, right? So let Dalton take care of it, at least for the next second half of the season, or at least starting into the second quarter, and see how well you feel, see what those matchups look like, and get back out there. I think that's the best way you learn.
All right. And the QB Huddle podcast, both Brandon and I are firm supporters of the Colorado Buffaloes, even though they got whooped this weekend. So let that narrative stay true.
We trust.
We love Deion Sanders. We love what he's doing there. But we're also realists, and we knew that if you don't have an offensive and defensive line to match up with teams like Oregon and USC, that those are going to be long days for you. It's not Prime's fault. Talk your stuff, Prime. Have a good time. Get those kids to buy in. You're doing great work out there. We love what you're doing. Even if you lost, it's okay. Let the haters hate. But, hey, when you put yourself on that stage and something bad happens, you have to expect that that's coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
He knew it was coming.
And absolutely.
I love what he said in the post game. Real quick, as we get off topic, he said, "If you're going to get me now.
You better get me now.
You better get me now." So I love that. I love that. I mean, Deion he's the same guy coaching that he was when he was playing. So if you were a fan of his when he played and you're not a fan of his now, you're a hypocrite. That's all I got to say about that.
He's the man, dude. But good luck against SC, brother. Boy.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of the QB Huddle podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, share, and comment. Even if you don't agree with us, we want to hear from you. Keep an eye out for the Couch Coach podcast. We'll be putting that out later this week. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for our incredible producer, Mark Watson, who does all the work on the back end. For my podcast partner, Brandon Newey, I'm Tim Smith, and we'll see you next week on the QB Huddle podcast. See ya.
Peace.